A weekend with new movies that I can actually talk about and watch. This is extremely exciting to me for some reason, the notion of watching a new film. Even though we can't go to our glorious church of the theater right now, it's amazing to be able to actually watch some new movies. Bad Education was directed by Cory Finley and stars Hugh Jackman, Ray Romano, and Allison, Janney. And it's the true story of a beloved superintendent of New York's Roslyn School District. His friends and relatives and staff become the prime suspects in the unfolding of the single largest public school embezzlement scandal in American history. This film premiered on HBO this Saturday, and I got a chance to watch it because I still have my leftover HBO Go account from my Game of Thrones binging that ended so wonderfully, by the way. And having enjoyed Cory Finley's last film, Thoroughbreds, I was excited to watch this movie, and I think this is a major step up from even that film. Bad Education is a brilliant movie with extremely excellent writing from Mike Makowski, who actually was a student at the high school that this movie depicts. So he has a first-hand account of some of these events and understands the fallout. Hugh Jackman as Frank Tassone plays a superintendent that everyone loves. Everybody is inspired by this person. He remembers all of the students' names very easily. He knows what all of the kids want to do. He will make time for anyone. He will sit down with any student and make sure that they feel like they are loved and that they feel like they're protected. He even runs into older students he hasn't seen in years and remembers exactly what they wanted to do with their life. By all accounts, he's excellent at his job. He is perfect at his job, except for one very specific and very illegal thing. And when a young student who works for the school's paper starts to investigate where the school's funds are going, she starts to uncover some very concerning things. I found this movie absolutely riveting. Hugh Jackman is an incredible actor. I've loved him in many movies, Prisoners being one of the first times where I truly didn't see Hugh Jackman. He just became another person on the screen. He's such a gifted actor. And Bad Education might just be competition for his best work. There's one particular scene in this movie that is so striking of a performance. There's a scene in this film where he just fucking rocks every minute that he is on screen, and it is so enthralling to watch. This actor deserves a lot of fucking praise for this performance. I could easily see this being nominated for Best Actor next year, especially since right now there's really not a lot of competition for that, unless you count Jim Carrey. But not to be overlooked is Allison, Janney, who, again, is just fucking phenomenal. These two performers are operating on another level. They just disappear. You don't see them. They're so good in this film, and it's a story that is very relevant, especially with the recent college admissions scandal that happened. This story takes place in 2002, and it's one of those stories that you would really have a hard time believing unless it was true. When people are so loved and so liked by their town and by the residents there, and every kid at the school loves these teachers and the administrative people, it's really easy for them to just go, well, you know, that's a little weird, but I'm just going to overlook it because this guy just is so nice to my kid. And that's where this reporter comes in, which apparently is a slightly invented character, a sort of amalgamation of various different people. It is true that the school paper originally started to look into the things that other papers picked up on and the story really broke. But that's a bit of an invention of a character. But I can see why, because it adds a lot of suspense and tension to the movie as she's investigating these things, and it also assists the audience because we're able to kind of sift through these things through her eyes, and it helps us as viewers make sense of everything. Ray Romano is also great in this movie. I'm so glad that he's, apparently back. After Welcome to Mooseport, I was like, are we never going to see Ray Romano again? But after The Irishman and this, I mean, he's really delivering a lot of good performances right now. As for issues, the first 20 minutes of the movie can feel a bit like, where is this going? There are times where you're not entirely sure what the film is about. You're used to getting that big opening scene or that moment in the first 10 to 15 minutes that jumpstarts the story. But in this case, there's a lot of setup. You have to understand what all of these characters are doing for the community to feel the weight and the impact of the betrayal that happens later in the movie. As soon as that sort of jumpstarts, the movie gets really interesting and I was invested immediately. In fact, I watched this movie before bed last night, and I was like, oh, I'll watch half of it, and then I'll go to bed and I'll watch the rest tomorrow. About 30, 40 minutes into the movie, I was like, God damn, I'm going to be up too late. Because I was just totally hooked. And the other thing is that at one point in the movie, there's sort of like an imaginative dream sequence that a character envisions, and it felt so against the grain of what the rest of the movie was like. The entire film feels very realistic and grounded, and then there's sort of like this imagined fantasy. And I was sort of detached all of a sudden. Besides that, I think this is some of the best acting, maybe the best acting of Hugh Jackman's career. Allison Janney is incredible in the movie. The writing is really good, and so is the directing. I'm going to give Bad Education an A-. Like I said, it's on HBO right now. If you have access to HBO, I would highly suggest watching it. It's definitely one of the better films I've seen so far this year. Guys, thank you so much as always for watching, and if you like this, you can click right here and get Stuckmanized.